But Saturday morning of the 18th week, we're catching up now. I'm finally way late on these. I'm days late. A man came up to Jesus, knelt down before him, and said, again, it's Matthew, Lord, have pity on my son, who is a lunatic and suffers severely. Often he falls into fire and often into water. I brought him to your disciples, but they couldn't cure him. Jesus said in reply, O faithless and perverse generation, how long will I be with you? How long will I endure you? Bring the boy here. Jesus rebuked him, and the demons came out. Then the disciples approached Jesus in private and said, why could we not drive it out? He said, because of your little faith. Amen, I say to you, if you have the faith the size of a mustard seed, you will say to this mountain, move from here to there, and it will move. Nothing will be impossible for you. See? This is a true story. All right. You tell a kid this story, and I was a kid when I first heard this thing. Of course, I had faith a lot bigger than a mustard seed, I can absolutely assure you. And once I started Sunday school with the nuns, they were great teachers, by the way, I have to say. I owe my faith to those women, especially Sister Ann. She was really something. God, she'd be 100 years old now, at least. Anyway, if she isn't in paradise, nobody is. Forgot about it. But this mustard seed business, I possessed at least that much, if not a lot more. Well, I was out with my father and mother. We were driving from New Haven to Wallingford to go visit my cousins, and my aunt and uncle, my cousins, okay, the Vitalis. Okay? Well, you go by, New Haven sits in between a bunch of half mountains. They're not really mountains. We call them rocks, actually. All right? New Haven sits in between them, okay? And we were going by, which one was it? I forget. It would be on the east side, north side of us. See, we're driving outward from New Haven. So we're driving north, and this is just east of us, this mountain. I think it's called something Rock, East Rock. I think this was East Rock. Well, as I'm driving up there on Easter, so anybody watching this video from Connecticut would have a pretty good idea where I am. And we're driving up on the, I don't think it was a highway yet, I think it was just a road. But we were driving up to Wallingford from New Haven. And I'm looking at the thing on the right, this rock, East Rock, I think it is. So I thought, I bet I can move it. Well, I have the faith the size of a mustard seed. So I thought I could move it. But then, even at 7 or 8 years old, I was not a kid who was willing to risk anyone else getting hurt. You move a mountain, let me assure you, somebody could be on that mountain, could fall off and get hurt. So I refrained because I was afraid, not that the mountain was going to move. I knew it was going to move. But if somebody was on it, they'd fall off. And what would happen if the mountain, by moving, would smash into somebody? You can't do things like that. You can't go around saying, I think I'll move a mountain today. I got nothing else to do. You got to maybe get my friend Al or Frankie. Come on, let's move that. Let's move that mountain. You guys believe this, don't you? Yeah. Okay, let's believe and move the mountain. You see? We didn't move them out. We were good guys. We wouldn't risk somebody else's well-being. We never moved a mountain. If you're ever in New England, I've told you this 100 times, and you're driving north on 91. I'm sorry, I screwed that up. You get on 91 in New Haven, takes you to Hartford. You're going to go by these rocks, East Rock, West Rock, somebody's rock, okay? Just remember they're there because I refrained from moving them, okay? Don't mess around with a kid, 7, 8-year-old kid with faith. We're dynamite. We're powerful. We don't fool around. But the good sisters, the nuns, taught us to have a conscience, not just muscle, but a conscience. Therefore, we didn't go around hurting anybody. You see? Besides, if we did hurt somebody, we'd have to go to confession. Some of those pastors were rough. You'd hit you with a dozen, with a bunch of Hail Marys and even a rosary for that kind of thing. You had to hear my Uncle Harry on that score. Oh, gosh. I hope I'm not wasting your time. I'm not. I delight in these memories, but they also taught me a great deal about life. See, because where I really saw the moving of the mountains was the faith that believed even in the face of such great sadnesses in life. Here in the parish, but everywhere. That's the truth. That is the truth. People believed even in the face of horror. By being in St. Mark's so many years, 50 years now, 53 years, going into my 53rd year. Remember when Bob Haverberger came in as sacristy? He served Mass this morning. This was 29 years ago. His son had just been killed in an automobile accident. Mark. And I had taught Mark at St. Lucio. He and his wife Jean are men and women of faith, I have to tell you. I have to tell you. And he wasn't the only one, or they were not the only ones. So many. If you're in a parish, you're going to see what Lou Camario said to me once, who was a parishioner. You'll baptize us, you'll marry us, and you'll bury us. And he was right. But sometimes the burial comes way too soon. That's the truth. And what you see is a real living faith, not piety, but a truly living faith, where they can come to grips with real moral and spiritual horror, and they grasp the truth of Christ, and they believe. That's the truth. They believe. Well, Lily's decided she's going to bark about something outside, so I'll just leave you with that, okay? I hope you have a good one.